Welcome back, all of you beautiful broken shares out there. This is Jay from JCP Ends on Perspective podcast, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host C from JCP Ends on Perspective podcast, Cole,
What is
and
up,
we are
folks?
back for for NFL Week 12. This year's already going by so
We don't
fast.
have
We're already
the P
almost
with
over.
us this time.
Oh yeah, no P. It's just getting to a point. I don't even have to say that there's no P. Unfortunately,
It's
yeah,
either
Chooch is not
one or
here
the
with
other with
us.
you guys.
Yeah, it's a mess. But I hope we had a good Thanksgiving football time over this good Thanksgiving Day break. But I think we're ready to hop into it with good old classic NFL news with Eagles wide receiver Deshaun Jackson announcing his retirement, which will happen on Friday. Now, I don't know much about him, but I know that he is a pretty good player, and I think he's been like 15 years. He's definitely earned his retirement.
Okay, so let me
Cole,
draw the picture
what do you
so
think
that
about
you
this?
understand him, and anybody who's like you who hasn't really gotten the chance to watch him understands him. Picture Tyreek Hill, but bigger and a little bit slower. Not too much. He was really fast, and he could catch, and he had a physical presence, and he was explosive on kick returns. This guy was one heck of a wide receiver. Um, can't say enough good things about him, and I hope he enjoys retirement, not returning then.
So what you're saying is
What I'm saying is Mike Freeze.
I lagged out a bit. So
Okay, I was like, what?
uh so all right, what you're saying is this guy is going to be missed, and it's going to be a huge thing missing from the NFL
I mean, not
that we're
so
going to look
much
back on and be like,
anymore.
dude. But we're going to look back on and be like, man, when this guy was on, he was on.
Yes.
All right. We hope Deshaun Jackson has a really great retirement. I hope he has a great rest of his days. But time for I think the craziest news from today, actually. Aaron Rodgers was seen back at practice actually like throwing the football, and he looked like he looked like he didn't just have his ACL rip in half almost 80 days ago. It's insane what he's doing. Like, it's absolutely insane that this guy had like the muscle in his leg just completely torn, and then he's acting like it didn't just happen. Have you seen the footage?
I have not.
It's it's so weird to think like, oh yeah, this guy was on the ground in the first week, just in pain,
Dead.
horrible. uh, it yeah, like this guy at week 1 was like really really bad. Not like really bad, like just messed up in his leg, and now
Physically.
he's acting like it didn't happen at all. Yeah. But what I will say is that don't put him in. I'm t- like it's a completely different thing to have him at practice. That's an accomplishment by itself, but do not put him in. Like one
See,
sack and then you put enough pressure on that calf and it might be over again.
here's my question when it comes to this, right? Like, what would even be the point of bringing him back? Because it's like you quite literally have nothing worth playing for in terms of risking Aaron Rodgers. Like, he could be done if he gets one more injury, okay? The fact that he
Yeah.
returned at this stage in his career, that's huge.
Yeah. So please listen to us. Do not put him back in. Do not like I'm not even that big of an A-Rod fan, but just it's the safety factor of this guy had his Achilles torn, and then to think, oh yeah, he could be put in week 15 for what? for you guys to lose, it will really boggle my mind if they put him back in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense personally. So I think, we gotta be careful, especially with these guys, because think about it, like there is not that many quarterbacks from the generation that like Chooch grew up on. This is quite literally like
The
one of the
1950s,
last.
the 1920s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah,
I'll
A
just say
Rod's like
one.
900 years old. But yeah, that's when Tom Brady was first on the ball in like 1930, right?
Close enough.
But yeah, we hope Aaron Rodgers gets up for next season, not this season. No. Uh, and then for I don't know even what to call this news, but the Panthers have fired head coach Frank Reich. Now I get it that he didn't do all that great in Tennessee, and not Tennessee, in the
Tennessee.
Indianapolis. I know he's not that good of a head coach, but yeah, I don't know why, but I affiliate Indianapolis and Tennessee for some reason. I don't know why, but I know he wasn't that great with the Colts, and I know he's not doing this good with this season. But to fire him in the middle of the season, like he's wasting potential, is mind-boggling. You put him behind the worst roster in today's NFL, and then you want him to get like a winning season out of this. Like, what do you expect from this guy to just put on a god tier maneuver and just pull out a winning season or anything to happen from this Panthers team?
So my question comes, like you were saying, with the front office, and it's like, what was the thought process here? You bring in Frank Reich in the offseason this year, and you're like, he can save us, he can help our team, he can develop the team. Like, was the legitimate conversation like, hey, if we get you Bryce Young, you have to have a playoff contending season? Because that is outrageous if that's what they did. Because
Yeah. When
that
when
team,
your
you'd
O
be
line
lucky
is
for 4
not
wins.
when your O line's not on the field, there's no defense at all. Like Bryce Young's not the issue, and neither was Frank Reich. We get he's not like an Andy Reid or even like he's not
Dan
a
Campbell.
great coach. Yeah, he's not a great coach, but you can't just like fire the guy as soon as he has any faults because that's probably your only good thing with your team right now is
Yeah, I
Frank
mean,
Reich.
he was an upside too. Like he wasn't the worst thing at Indianapolis. He wasn't great, but he wasn't, terrible. And he definitely could have, if they gave him the proper amount of time and he could get his guys in there, he could have turned this Panthers team into a respectable, hear me out, internet, respectable team, not Super Bowl contention right off the
Not
rip.
not even playoff contention, I don't think.
No,
I don't care. Andy Reid couldn't pull this team together. It's just
no.
there's way too many holes on every side of the ball, and it's just a mess over there in Carolina.
Well, and they should like honestly think about hiring Matt Canada at this point. I mean, it can't get much worse.
Jet sweep, jet sweep, jet sweep. It's 3rd and 15.
Jets.
Okay. But yeah, just my thought process was like, he's like not the greatest, but he doesn't deserve to get fired. I don't think he deserved to get fired at all. Um, but we're ready to go on to week 12 of the NFL. I don't know what to even call
Uh,
this week. Some were
um,
eventful, some were surprising, some were
some were
just
boring.
yeah, some was just yeah. Kind of expected this. But going on to Thanksgiving games with the Lions and Packers. The Lions are on I think it's a 7-year losing streak on Thanksgiving, and this is just adding the 7 to it.
Like I said, I don't understand why anybody's shocked. It literally happens every year. I'm sorry, Jacob, but it does every year.
Hey, we're still like 8-3. All right. I'll take an 8-3 Lions team losing on Thanksgiving any day of the any year. I will take
Uh,
that every day. But yeah, the Lions have decided, hey, we're gonna play good with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Because I watched this game during Thanksgiving and that's what it kind of felt like.
oh, it was
Jared Goff
awful.
Jared Goff throwing for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of yards. I know that's kind of like a just observing thing to say,
Just
but
a little bit.
I don't know what it was. The Lions was ranked recently with like the best O line in the NFL, and then just the week after that, just all went down the toilet.
I
I'm sure
think
you've
what
seen
it
that ranking.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it could have been realistically is sometimes, and this happens in college too, like if you give a team praise in the college sense, it's put them in the top 25 for the first time in a while. In the NFL sense, it's like compliment their O line, compliment their quarterback, their running back, anything really, just any position. After that week, they suck. And it's just like, it's like, why? Did you like listen to the media too much? Is that what we're doing now? Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Can I remind you,
Um,
Jared Goff fumbled 3 times and lost all three.
yeah.
Lost all three of his fumbles.
See, but
And
here's
then
the
you
thing
look and it's
too.
like, oh yeah, they didn't do that
Yeah, they only
bad.
lost
Like you
by
look at their score sheet,
7.
oh Amon-Ra St. Brown, 95 yards. Yeah, but that was because they were kicking up in the third quarter.
We don't talk
Got
about it.
6 points in the first, and then 8 in the third, and then 8 in the fourth.
We
All
don't
these
talk about
stats are from the third and fourth quarter. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't even know what to say.
uh,
I'm glad Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery are having both sides of the ball, not really having, you know, like one guy's getting way too much. Dave got 15, Jameer got 11 carries. I'm just disappointed again. I'm sorry, Lions. Do better.
well, I do want to say about this game. I mean, we have to address the big things in this game, and to me that is Jordan Love, man. Like, why do we have this thing to where, Jordan Love is good for 1 week and then people like him and he does okay the next week, and then the next 3 weeks he's horrible. Like, can we just make up our mind on what Jordan Love we're getting for the rest of the year? Because like I'm sick of this.
I am getting kind of sick of inconsistent quarterback play. Every
Yes.
single week is like a different story. Going on to, I call this game the no shocker game of another example of the Cowboys demolishing a bad team and then being like, "Oh yeah, we're the best." No, you're not. Anyone could have beat this Commanders team except maybe the Panthers.
Frank Reich is crying. Way to go.
Frank Reich is crying. Yeah, I just I don't even. It's the Cowboys demolishing a bad team. That's all we've been seeing this season. The Cowboys have one of the easiest schedules in football, and they're gonna get another playoff thing. They're gonna get into the playoffs again just to lose and maybe the NFC Championship.
If that.
Yeah, if that, yeah,
So I do want to bring this up. I mean, obviously you kind of said it all with the Cowboys. Like, they beat a bad team. They always do. It always happens. But Sam Howell, he did all he could. I mean, 300 yards, 28 for 44, one interception for
yeah.
6. Got sacked 4 times. Thanks to O line for that help. And then on top of that, he got hit 8 times all game. Like, we need to have a serious sit-down conversation. I've said this before, but all O-line coaches in America at the pro level, how do you allow your quarterback to be hit 8 times?
It's
Like,
really bad this year. We
it's
thought it was
brutal.
bad last year. We thought it was bad last year, but this year it's getting really bad. So, but Sam
Um,
Howell is like drowning in Washington. We can all see it. He's throwing for like 50 attempts a game. It's
and he's doing
it's
great.
just
This is no hate on him.
yeah. But the things that they're asking him to do is like with what? You have one good wide receiver at in the Washington with
And he hasn't played good.
Terry McLaurin. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he hasn't even played good. I think he'd played better in the preseason, if anything.
Yeah.
Cowboys, eat your turducken. I don't even care anymore. Going on.
I'm so
Uh,
over this.
I'm so over I don't like talking about the Cowboys because they're just I don't like the team in general, and I don't like the fans. Cowboys fans are worse than Eagles fans, and you cannot change my mind about it. At least the Eagles have like something to talk about, like something to be proud of, and
Right.
then you see the Cowboys beating like the Panthers by 70 points, and be like, "Hey, we're going to the Super Bowl." Off of what?
You
Every
beat the Panthers. Anybody with half a brain, I'm telling you.
I'm So you think you're going to the playoffs? What evidence do you have? Oh, we beat teams that are like 1-10.
Hey, maybe
Okay,
them one
go
in
home.
10 teams are tough.
Maybe, maybe. Going on to the next game though, Seahawks versus the 49ers.
Is any
Um,
wait, hold on. Before you start, is anybody shocked? Anybody
no.
at all? Because I'm not. The Seahawks. You need to figure it out. Okay, like you make me mad. Okay, and this like a little miniature fantasy side rant here. Okay, the 1 week I start DK Metcalf, he puts up 4 points. I put him on the bench. He gets 13. Like, what the? Can we get this
Hey,
figured out, guys? And then on
hey,
top of that,
I'm
wait,
sorry about
real
that because
quick.
I called the 49ers and I was like, hey man, can you make sure DK Metcalf gets like nothing?
I owe you so much. Okay, but my last point here, and I'll hand it back to you, Jacob. Brock Purdy is not a system quarterback. I have to say it again. We say this every week. I swear we do. Like somebody go back all the weeks and tell me I'm wrong. Okay. What does the guy got to do? 209 yards, 29 or
21 out
not
of
29,
30.
21 for 30, one touchdown, one interception. He averaged 7 yards per pass, which is really good. One sack. Like, okay, I can already see the comments. All right, I just
Debo
have a
Samuel,
picture.
man.
Debo Samuel did it. Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. Okay, look, guys, he has to throw the ball to them in order for them to catch it.
Not only
Like,
to them, but like the way he's perfectly like placing it in the
I'm
just,
frustrated,
just
man.
do
I'm
this,
shocked.
it'll be in your hands,
Yeah,
guys. He's a system quarterback, dude. I don't get it, man. He's just totally a
completely
system quarterback.
system.
Uh but yeah, going on about this game again. 49ers easily, I've been saying this, the best team on paper.
Agreed.
Uh Chris McCaffrey 114 yards for 19 carries with 2 touchdowns. And he's not an MVP race.
No, it should be who
Quarterback
did he
award.
play again? Yeah.
MVP is just a quarterback award. We all know this. But the only receiver to get a touchdown this game would be Brandon Ayuk, which 2 receptions for 50 yards is pretty insane to me, and 4 targets out of his 2 receptions also. Uh, Easily, I would say I can't decide who has the best wide receiver core in football, but this is definitely up there with
It's up there for
Debo,
sure.
Brandon. Whenever Christian is a receiving running back, then Ray McLeod. You got Kittle out there as well, and then you have the best fullback in football, Kyle Juszczyk.
Use check.
Yes. Raymond McLeod did get a fumble, but then yeah, he got one fumble on there.
Also, Seahawks, I'm not talking about you. You made me upset. You ruined my Thanksgiving. Seeing DK only 4 points. No, we're not talking. We're done. I'm done. I'm not talking to you guys. Redeem yourself next week,
I don't want to hear anything about the Legion of Boom ever again, by the way, Seahawks
please.
fans. But yeah, just an entertaining game. I love watching the 49ers. 49ers
Oh,
are
they're
one of
so
my
good.
favorite. Yeah, one of my favorite teams. But going on to the first ever Black Friday football game, the Jets and the Dolphins, and I feel like people are just eating their turduckens at home and just watching every game just be just not surprising at all. There are no upsets this week, other than I think one.
2 picks, so that was shocking.
Yeah, Tua getting 2 interceptions was pretty shocking, and that's about it for the shock factor in this game. Raheem Mostert is doing a lot better than I thought he would this season, especially going to week 12. He's been doing good all season, but then it's like, oh, he might get injured. And I think he did for a little bit, and then he's coming back and just 2 touchdowns for how many yards? For 94 yards and 20 carries. So,
And also 2 rushing yards.
oh yeah. But I can't tell the Miami Dolphins if they're actually good or not. Now it's weird for me to say that because they're putting on master classes, but they are kind of like the Cowboys, except their fans are bearable.
Yeah, and their coach, I like him. I like McDaniel.
Yeah, I like Mike McDaniel too. Like, who have they really beaten this year? I think the toughest opponent they've probably beaten. I can't. They've all beaten cupcakes because then they lost to the Chiefs, then they lost to the Eagles, and then they lost to the Bills. Now, later when they were facing the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills, that this is in like the last few weeks of the season. I think we'll find out if they're that type of team to just demolish every bad team, and then when good teams come about, they cry in the corner.
So my big question comes with, is this team going to rise up to the occasion? Because like you're saying, like they have not in big games, but I have more faith in this team than I do Dallas in order to turn it up because like how could you not love watching this team play football? They're just fun. I mean,
Yeah,
they just do whatever they
Tyreek
want.
Hill,
Yeah.
Jalen
Jalen
Waddle,
Waddle.
Tua's doing amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially to see him coming back. But going on to the next game though, we're done with Thanksgiving. Going to the Chargers versus
No.
Ravens game. We have to bring in our weekly fire Brandon Staley. Fire
Okay.
Brandon Staley rant.
We have to do this every week because for some reason the LA Chargers just that they want him. You know what? I just I work myself up doing these things. It's not for show, all of it at least. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, what in the world do you see in this guy? He can't coach. He ruins talent. He can't win games with this team. Not even big games. Like he doesn't even have the Dolphins and Cowboys problems. He just genuinely can't win games. Like listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'll be the first to say that. But if I
Oh
was in
yeah.
the front office and there was a coach who couldn't win games with this talent, I really think I would probably go right now and be like, "Hey, buddy, unemployment. Sorry." Or you can like stay and do something, I don't know, maybe recruit or like watch
Be a
the
scout.
college. Yeah, be a scout. Just like please don't coach anymore because you're hurting.
And bring in Jim Harbaugh when
I
he
would
leaves
not
Michigan.
be against that.
I would love to see Jim Harbaugh go to LA again. Well, he was in
Again?
San Francisco. I meant like California
Okay. I was gonna
because
say.
he was in San Francisco for the 49ers and then he's coming back to California. But what I do find weird is that when you look at the Ravens and like what they did, like Lamar Jackson, stats cannot say how good he was looking during this game. Like his pocket presence was
Oh, it was awesome.
insane. And I've seen like LA Charger like in the stand like LA Charger fans in the stands like losing their minds of how he's able to escape pressure, which I think there should be. Like, I wish there was like little highlight reels next to stats of like, oh yeah, he also did this. This is pretty important to know too.
Right.
But MVP conversation is still going for Lamar Jackson, but did not put up that masterclass of a show. And according to stats, though, 18 for 32 and 177 yards with one touchdown. Not bad, but yeah, like I just wish that offense was sort of mixing a little bit more. Zay Flowers, yeah, Zay Flowers has a rushing touchdown actually.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
a jet sweep.
man, must be taking notes from Matt Canada.
See,
Matt
this is
Canada,
how you successfully
yeah,
do it.
Matt Canada is actually seeing a jet sweep that's working, and he's probably losing his mind right now.
Oh, I do.
I
Cause
just
like he
wish
dreams about that. Like I think so. I think he's like,
he's
okay,
in bed,
look.
just tossing. Ah. I seen a jet sweep that worked. It was a nightmare. Was it for the Steelers? No. No, it
No,
wasn't.
for Ravens.
Baltimore. But the best receiver on the best receiving person on this team was actually Isaiah Likely, backup tight end for Mark Andrews. I'm upset that Mark Andrews is gone, but I'm a little happy that we're finally seeing Isaiah Likely actually like, not just be, oh, Mark is hurt a little bit. Let's put him in now. He's actually like, okay, I can play. Still not doing that good though. 4 out of 6 targets with 40 yards. Hopefully next week we can see a lot. Oh wait,
Mhm.
I might have said next week. I think the Ravens. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
they're on a
no. They're
bye next
fine.
week, I thought.
Okay, yeah. They're on a bye, but the week after, I hope they focus this bye week on getting the offense to sort of blend together a lot better and just do something well with the receivers because Lamar, you got your receivers that you're asking for. You used to have Mark Andrews and he was doing a lot, but then now you have a good tight end in Isaiah Likely. You got OBJ, Zay Flowers, which shut up Cole, he's doing good. Okay, give the man
Um,
flowers. Give the man his flowers.
oh,
Because I
come
will.
on.
I will. I'll give him his flowers. I know
I
it's a dead
mean,
flower.
he's been okay. First round worthy. I don't think that was great for the value. He's been okay.
But but also the Baltimore defense does not deserve to get looked over as well, even though the LA Chargers are doing great on offense. It's the defense for the Baltimore that you got to look at too.
Right. Yeah, no, they had some really great plays. And Patrick Queen, bro, like nobody's mentioned him. He has been a wrecking
Seven
crew.
tackles total. Uh, it's just him. The combination of Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith and both those middle linebackers working together to get a tackle is
It's so
chemistry
good.
and it's art in motion. I'm telling you right
It
now.
is.
Some of the best defensive plays. And the scheme works perfectly. Like the scheme that they got in Baltimore for two really good middle linebackers with Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. Incredible to watch in Baltimore. Finally going back to those Ray Lewis and Ed Reed days. No, it's
I
never
was
gonna go
gonna
back
say
there.
it's not there. It's not
It'll
there.
never be that again, unfortunately. Going on to the next game though, Falcons versus the Saints. I was
Oh,
actually
do
thinking
we
that the
really? I don't want to talk
nah, let's
about
just go to the
this.
next game. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, get out of here.
I don't
Okay,
want
but
to talk
on a
about this
serious
either.
note, we have to. We're contractually obligated. Okay. I
No, we're not. We don't
just
have a contract.
don't have to point it out. Okay. But Saints, I mean, they yeah, they existed. They were on the field. I can't really say anything good. I mean, Derek Carr had some nice passes. Taysom Hill, he was there. He did some things. Chris Olave had a pretty good day, and that's all I really have for the Saints. For the Falcons, you won. Don't ask me how you won, but you won. Good job. And Arthur Smith is going to stay probably and keep misusing Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So um, have fun,
That is the
guys. I
sucky thing
mean,
of like we're talking about Arthur Smith, and it's like, yeah, he's a problem. He's not letting these, people like Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts, actually get the ball and do all this stuff. And then you look at his record, it's like, well, he's 5-6. It's not that bad. You go, yeah, but look at this. Look at the plays. look at just look
I
at the
will
team.
say, I will say, he did a better job of featuring Drake London this week. He had 5 catches for 91 yards, so like it was kind of better, but at the same time, not enough for me.
Kyle
Um,
Pitts getting 2 receptions for out of 2 targets for 22 yards,
don't
no
remind me.
touchdowns.
Don't remind me, please. The bad man is screwing my fantasy, but I'm still winning, so joke's on him. But I do want to
What I
say
will
like,
say
and
though is
maybe
I
it's
feel bad for the Saints.
yeah, yeah, me too.
The heck? I've got like 30 notifications just then. Like
Oh,
every notification sound that could pop up.
yeah, I do want to say
But yeah, the New Orleans Saints.
yeah.
You go ahead.
Okay, folks, I just want to clarify that there is a delay, so we're not really. It's so hard because there's like a 4 second delay in the room. So, if we're talking over each other, just kind of bear please with us for this stream. We'll try and get it figured out next time, but this is pretty bad. But we're making it work for y'all. Um, so I do want to say my point was, and maybe it's not Arthur Smith. It could be, maybe the offensive coordinator, maybe some people have some underlying things, but I really think it's got to be Arthur because it's just like he's had chances in the past from if my memory serves me correct to like utilize some really good players and I don't know. I mean, the results just kind of stay the same. So, correct me if I'm wrong
Yeah.
in the comments, though.
I am feeling bad for the Saints though because they have a really good team on paper, right? Like they have a pretty solid team. You got Chris Olave, which if utilized properly and with a good quarterback at the helm, he could be a top 10 receiver. And but I think Derek Carr is dragging this team down. I know when you hear that, I'm saying like, oh, I'm saying Derek Carr is a terrible quarterback. No, it's just he's not the solution for the Saints' problem.
I agree
He's
with that.
not the right type of quarterback for the Saints right now, especially with for him to win enough games and then not even I think the Saints are going to have to maybe trade up in value to get one of the early first round draft picks to get a quarterback that's getting drafted this season because it's obvious you're not going to keep Derek Carr for longer than maybe 2 3 years. So you have to find a solution and make it up quickly because we're already approaching the end of the season.
See, so I wanted to ask you this. If you were the Saints, would you embrace the tank and go, hey, we got a serious problem. We have to address it now. And this is the only way we could ever get back to the elite level? Or would you just kind of think about, okay, we are a few players away, let's stay the course?
I'm taken because this draft class has, I feel like, enough of depth in the quarterback position for this draft class
Right.
where you can get like a 10th overall pick, maybe 15th, maybe, and get a pretty solid franchise quarterback at the helm for you. And that's what the Saints have needed for ever since I say Drew Brees.
Right.
So I feel like I would tank, and maybe if they tanked, where would they really land? Like
Uh,
15th, like
no, I'd
or
say
in
if
the
I had to
tens.
guess, I'd say like maybe somewhere. It's got to be like 10 or 11, maybe even below.
Yeah, I would say so. And you got to think, all right, the first pick will definitely be a quarterback. It's going to be one of like the Heisman winners, which we're actually going to talk about at the end of the episode.
Yes.
So it's just a really confusing problem for the Saints, and I hope they can figure something out to get this team going. Going on to the next game, Colin McCulkin did not show up today because of.
Oh no. Oh
I'm sorry, Joe Burrow's not there, guys. He's
no,
injured,
it's
and we're seeing the effects, and we're also seeing the effects of Matt Canada being gone for the Steelers, because this is the first time the Steelers have had a 400-yard offense in ever since before Matt Canada got there.
I
Steelers
can't
fans are
believe
happy.
that.
Steelers fans are happy and celebrating that they got 400 yards and only beat the Bengals by 6. I thought they were going to beat them by a lot more. But you have to think, oh, yeah, the Bengals have somewhat of a defense to stop touchdowns and field goals. But yeah, just congratulations, Steelers. You're figuring your stuff out, getting rid of Matt Canada, throwing for 400 yards. And I bet he was sitting at home. I bet Matt Canada was watching at home.
Where are the jet sweeps?
If he's throwing the ball down the field, it's going to get picked off eventually.
Well, I will say this. I was very impressed with Jake Browning in the way he played. I think he did a really good job of, giving the Bengals a shot to win this game. But yeah, of course, you got to, say the defense. They did a tremendous job of, hanging in there and making plays till the end. But Steelers, do your thing. I mean, oh my goodness. You had life. You had excitement on offense for the first time in, well, like a long time. So,
However many
um,
years.
enjoy this and please keep it. And for the love of everything, please do not hire back Matt Canada. Thank you.
I don't know. I think he should be the head coach.
Hey, once Mike Tomlin goes, you never know.
Matt Canada hired as head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But yeah, just congratulations, Pittsburgh, finally getting wins and actually feeling like you should get wins too.
Yeah.
Going on to, I think this is the game that fired Frank Reich.
Boo.
Titans sort of similar scorecard to the last game too.
It
We just
was
covered
1 point.
Panthers losing this game by 1 point away from having like an identical thing. Panthers, you got. I just get depressed when I talk about the Panthers because I remember how they used to be with Cam Newton and all those it's the glory days, right? And then you look back at now, and you're 1-10, not even going to have a first round pick. You should trade. You're going to trade Bryce Young for a first round pick. No, joking. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Get Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, right after drafting your number 1 overall pick. Oh man, but Tennessee, you finally got Will Levis scoring touchdowns and then not fumbling the bag for him too, even though he didn't get a touchdown today. But 18 for 28, 185 yards. Derrick Henry finally getting, like, actually winning a game for them.
Leave it to the guy who has him on fantasy, who was utterly upset last week. Thank you, Tennessee.
Derrick Henry getting 18 carries for 76 yards with 2 touchdowns. I'm happy, Derrick Henry, because I kind of started watching football right after Derrick Henry stopped being like the monster that he stopped being King Derrick, right? He stopped being King Henry, and now he's actually putting on a good performance, and I'm happy for him.
I was gonna say, if
DeAndre
you want to see
Hopkins,
prime Henry, go play Madden Ultimate Team. It doesn't matter the year.
Spend $15, yeah. Even when he wasn't in the game, he was great.
Exactly.
DeAndre Hopkins continues to struggle in Tennessee, I would say, with they're being that's their best receiver, getting 3 receptions out of 5 targets for 49 yards, 0 touchdowns. And you're shifting to a pass-heavy offense and not utilizing your best guy well, which it's sad. I just think it's really sad.
Trade
D-Hop, go to Baltimore.
Yes.
Let him. The best receiving core in the NFL. You got D-Hop, OBJ, and Zay Flowers. Oh my God, I'm thinking about it right now. That's where I was thinking it was going to go. Oh, that would be great. But yeah, Carolina. I think this is the game that fired Frank Reich. 0 for 6 on away games.
Yeah, let's fire the guy who, literally underachieved with the roster. You'd be lucky to win like 3 games. Let's fire him.
Yeah, Andy Reid would struggle getting 5 wins with this roster. So I don't think we should. We already talked about that. Going on to the next game though, Bucks versus the Colts. Bucks continue to struggle. They're on a losing streak right now. Cole, what does the Bucks have to do to finally bounce back and end this losing streak?
Well, I think it's got to get to a point to where something has to be understood in the Buccaneers, because listen, Rashid White had 15 carries for 100 yards. That's pretty good. Now, my question is, why'd you stop at 15 if the guy's got a hot hand? I mean, what did that accomplish? It didn't make much sense to me. Wide receiving core, very, very disappointing this week. I mean, I don't know if it was, Baker missing on passes or
not Mike Evans though. Mike Evans.
No, Mike Evans is great. But seriously though, like, what is it a talent thing? Are they not connecting?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a talent thing at all. You got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, which he's not going to be there for much longer. But you got Rashid White. I'm talking about he's going to go to a different team. Not going to retire.
Oh, okay, we're on 2 different.
Jesus, man, like let him play. He's not going to retire after. Come on, dude. He's not that old. He's only what, 30? How old is Mike Evans?
I do not know. I'm not qualified to answer that.
But I do have he's 30 years old. Calm down. He's not even in his mid-30s. But yeah, Mike Evans seems to be the only receiver showing up with 6 receptions out of 9 targets for 70 yards, averaging 11.7. And Baker Mayfield continues to do great as well. I'm so happy Baker Mayfield's actually doing things.
Yes.
Getting
Facts.
20 out of 30 for almost 200 yards, 1 yard away from, I'm going to say 200, 1 yard away from 200 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. But I mainly think it's the defensive side of the ball, which is weird to say because we've been praising how good the defense is for a long time. But then you look at how much they've been, their previous games, and it's really, they're some games, it's like, oh yeah, both sides of the ball weren't doing good. But then you look and it's like, oh, none of them were doing good. Like
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was gonna get at too. I just think it's gotta be, first off, you gotta just be smart. Like, if somebody has a hot hand, give them the ball. And if, wide receivers, I mean, maybe time to trade away Godwin or, get some new guys because that wide
trade Mike.
receiving core is hurt. Yeah,
If he's
trade
already
Mike,
going
get
to
some
go,
value.
trade Mike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as for the
Which also I have a
defense,
question.
oh,
I have a question when you're done with your point.
that dang thing is back. All right, but yeah, the defense. I think they got to get better in terms of the secondary, more so corner, because when Carlton Davis is your lead corner, and don't get me wrong, like he's okay, but he's not elite in my opinion. You gotta really do some searching there, to get better in the secondary. And I just don't understand because, last year, the thing you addressed was your D line, which did not need any addressing. But you did
Vita
it.
Vea.
So, yeah, exactly. You got Cajun Cansey or whatever his name is. And, why not address the corners? Because, I don't get paid for this, but like I can see that cornerback core is not very great.
Yeah. I think that's easily your weakest position
Yeah.
in terms of Tampa Bay and your roster. You go to Madden, adjust lineup, go to defense. Oh yeah, that's the worst one.
Yep.
That needs a draft pick.
Don't worry, they'll draft another D lineman.
Yep. Yeah. Another Vita Vea. Vita Vea, Vita Vea, Vita Vea.
Please no. I'm scared.
Cole has some PTSD with Vita Vea whenever he plays Madden.
That name, bro, he lives rent free.
But I do have a question. If either the Bucks traded him or just he just walks away, where would you like to see Mike Evans go?
I honestly think that if you were to pair him at a place that knew how to utilize wide receivers, that would be best. So I would probably give him to the Chiefs because, hear me out, the Chiefs wide receiving core has been trash, like utterly bad, terrible. If
Sure.
you could get Mike Evans on that team for the right price, of course, don't lowball. If
Yeah. We'll give you a
charge
fourth.
yeah, no. Do a first, maybe 2 firsts. Get yourselves right.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, would you rather have the Chiefs, spend some draft picks on a receiver, or would you rather have would you rather have them trade for a receiver?
I'd rather take somebody out of the draft, but that's always how I've been. I mean, you could offer me the best wide receiver, like Tyreek Hill, for somebody, and I would instantly say no. I would say, give me a draft pick. Because that's who I am. If you're old, I really don't want you on my team. I'd rather build
He's
from the
not
ground
that
up.
old. He's only 30.
In terms of football, dude, 30 is
Yeah,
getting up
I
there.
get that, but like the way you're describing him is like he's not Tom Brady. He's not freaking Chooch, who's like 79.
Oh my goodness. I gotta tell Chooch about that one.
But yeah, I'd like to see him go to Detroit. Not just because I'm a Lions fan as a homer, I get it, but just because
Ooh,
when you really look at it, their only good talent is Amon-Ra St. Brown on that receiving team, and you got Sam Laporta, and because Jamison Williams, it took him a really long time to start, and last week against the Bears is when he finally got a touchdown,
right.
which I'm happy about. But to bring in another wide receiver and then sort of having Amon-Ra and Mike Evans be like, wide receiver one battle would just be so entertaining to see. Because
That would,
Amon-Ra St. Brown's killing it. The Sun God is destroying it in Detroit. We've all seen it.
man, I cannot stand how people make these like things, and it just it always happens with these nicknames. I mean, you're calling somebody who's can catch a ball a god.
Well,
It's
no,
stupid to
he's
me.
named that because he's hit Amon Ra. That Ra is the Egyptian
No, no,
sun god.
I get it. It's stupid to me. Okay, like namesake, you're good at football, named after a false idol. Whatever.
But it's a cool nickname. Come on. Give the guy props. But going
No
on to the next
props.
game though, Giants winning. Something we don't
Yay!
see. Tommy DeVito has the Italian hands of a true Italian man. I know that didn't make any sense. But Tommy
Yeah, I was like,
DeVito is
what?
Tommy DeVito is bringing a spark in this Giants team. Not enough to bring them into the playoffs, but enough to beat a horrible Patriots team. Patriots, come on. 2-9, 1-4 in away games. Tommy DeVito coming off 191 yards with one touchdown. And that was all that was needed, apparently, to get this Patriots team
Okay, so I
the
have
loss.
heard a theory, and I want your opinion on it.
Okay.
Somebody said that Bill Belichick is tanking because he has like a ridiculous uh what's the word, record against rookie quarterbacks, and he could have absolutely destroyed Tommy DeVito, who is a rookie quarterback, if he wanted to. Only 7 in Bill Belichick's whole career beat him that were rookies, and DeVito of course being the 7th. Do you think he's tanking for a better spot, a better quarterback? Is he playing, chess, and the rest of the league's playing checkers?
Now, the real question is Bill Belichick that scummy of a person?
Yes. Okay. I mean,
No, we know the answer.
anything
We
to
know the
win.
answer. We know the answer to that question. But is he that scummy of a person to be wasting all this talent? Ezekiel Elliott, Mac Jones. He's not that good anyway, but he's uh is he purposely tanking to get that? I wouldn't say purposely because the team just sucks in general too. The only good spot is maybe that defense, and even then you're letting the Giants score 10 points on you. I don't know how you survive as a defense after that. I'm gonna say no. He's not purposely tanking, but he's like barely trying to to do anything with this team. That's what I'm saying. He's tanking really nonchalantly,
Yeah,
where he's not purposely doing it, but he's doing just little enough to do it. That's
I
what I'll
like
say.
that.
But yeah, Tommy DeVito actually has more touchdowns than Mac Jones. You gotta Italian hands. Did you see he walked out to the Sopranos theme?
I did not.
He walked out to the Sopranos theme song. uh, New England passing stats make me want to cry. Mac Jones 12 for 21 with 89 yards, 2 interceptions, and Bailey Zappi with 9 out of 14 for 54 and 1 interception. So in total, that's 136 yards with 3 interceptions. That's so disgraceful of what this New England team used to be. Like, I just feel bad for. I don't even like New England. I don't like New England at all. I'm a hater if I would say anything about them. But this is just sad to see. Like, really, Ramondre Stevenson getting 21 carries, 98 yards, 1 touchdown, which is the only touchdown that they had. Like, it's just sad to see. You know, Tom Brady's spirit did not possess this. Does not possess this a New England team.
Wait,
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you're good.
It didn't show up for a second. I got nervous. It was like, I unplugged something.
But any takeaways from this game, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, this to me shows. Honestly, I don't have any.
I will. Giants are not fully dead.
I mean, they can't do anything this year, but yeah,
they can't, but they're not fully dead. Honestly, just don't win anymore. Get a good first round pick. Honestly, please stop winning, Giants. Kill Tommy DeVito. No.
Oh my goodness.
No, don't do that. But
no,
I'm just saying, stop winning.
We're not serious, FBI. Please don't.
Going on to the next game, though, a missed field goal from the Texans does not get this team to go to overtime against the Jaguars in this game. CJ Stroud is just absolutely killing it, and so are the Jaguars. The Jaguars are the most not talked about good team, I would say. Like, no one talks about them at all. And when you look at their record, they're 8-3. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know. That's the same record as the Chiefs, but no one's talking about them. No one's talking about, oh, Trevor Lawrence is doing great. Trevor Lawrence should be in the race for MVP. I don't think he should be, but no one's at least even mentioning it. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, 23 out of 38, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And it's crazy to me because you don't have much of a backfield when it comes to Jacksonville.
Right.
You had
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Travis Etienne and D'Ernest Johnson. And so not much of a backfield. Now, I do ask this. If you're Jacksonville, you're probably going to get a late round pick, right? You're probably going to get maybe somewhere in late 20s, maybe the 30s.
Right.
Where are you going with your draft pick? Are you going defensive side of the football? You're going to get a running back, maybe wide receiver. Where are you going?
See, this is a loaded question because it depends on where you're at. Hold on.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at in the situation, because I think the biggest, side of the football is your backfield, not having much space. Just having Trevor Lawrence air out every single play is not something you want to have.
I'll be right back. Sorry for the interruption.
All right, you're good. But your receiving core, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, not really terrible of receiving. So, if I was asked this question, I would maybe say I would put in the backfield just to have that, two sides of offense going at it together, and not just having the defense that you're playing against just, oh yeah, he's definitely passing. Just pass commit every single time. Because when you have a backfield that's in total running for 30 times and your quarterback's passing for 38, it's kind of not a question what you're doing on offense. In terms of defense, though, that is also an issue that I see. But, you got Josh Allen, not the quarterback. You got Devin Lloyd. You got Trey Hendron. You're good. I was keeping him entertained.
All right, so to answer the question, you get a pick that late, and it's a tough question too, because you got so many avenues that you can go. You could draft defensive, you could draft offensive. Um, Personally, I think you gotta look at the board and you gotta really assess then, because you know, it's so tough to say. Because think about this, for example. If I say go for a cornerback and there is, corners that are going to be there in round five, obviously you don't want to take one then. So it kind of needs to be a spur of the moment thing. But if I had a projection right now, I would say try and get an elite defensive edge rusher, because I think that's really what they're lacking. I mean, they really don't have, in my opinion, a great edge rusher that can go in and disrupt the quarterback. And think about the impact that that can have on a defense. I mean, just
Oh
look at
yeah.
Micah Parsons, for example, with the Cowboys. Like, that guy is feared.
Hmm.
Or Nick
Definitely.
Bosa.
Yeah. I think this is gonna be the year. I think this is gonna be the decade of defensive ends of left ends, right ends, and defensive ends. So you got guys like Aiden Hutchinson, Nick Bosa, and even he's kind of up there in age with Javion Clowney and for the Ravens is just absolutely
Right.
killing it this season. But my question to you is that if you see, let's see, there's a team offering a 10th round pick. And at the draft, this is going to be at the draft. You see
Uh,
a team offering their whatever round pick, and you see Blake Corum on the board. Do you trade?
Not for Blake Corum, no, because don't get me wrong, I like Blake Corum. I think he's a really good player, but I think you got bigger issues that need to be addressed. And, like, okay, actually, hold on. It's a mixture of things, because personally, I'd go best edge, no matter where you're at. But in terms of that trade up, it would depend on what they're asking for. I mean, if they wanted a mid round pick, like a fourth round, third round, I'd be like, okay, sure. But if they wanted, like, oh, a first for next year too, I'd be like, heck no. So, the reason for not going for Blake Corum for me, because you do have a thin, running back room. His injuries scare me, because, like, especially more so last year compared to this year, he had some moments to where he got injured, if I'm not mistaken. And you had to have Donovan Edwards come in, and some of the other guys. And
Which he also kills it, by the way.
oh yeah, Donovan Edwards really good. Yeah, I mean, that whole Michigan running back field is really good. Same with Penn State's; they're another sleeper in there. But um, that's what scares me when it comes to these running backs, is because we've seen it so much. Like, look at Saquon Barkley, for example. What Nick Chubb might be, if that injury, turns him negatively. With Saquon, it didn't really kill him, but it definitely could have, and it had people scared. That's more so what I mean. Um, but we see running backs get injured so much that if you already have a injury resume in college, it doesn't bode well, heading into the NFL.
He had knee surgery, by the way. That was what
That's
he
right.
had. He had knee surgery. Um, but yeah, my opinion, I think that backfield room is would do a lot because think of next year too, with cuts and all this type of stuff. Uh, where defenses are going to look at you and be like, okay, they pass the ball every single play. We'll just and then they figure out oh, Trevor Lawrence takes way too long to figure out in the pocket. Let's just blitz all the time and get
Right.
out of there because they don't have a running back room to really get out of situations like this. So I think a running back is going to be what can fix this team. Now, if you see a great running back in the draft or even a free agency, definitely pick them up, Jacksonville. It will do you wonders.
I agree with that.
And then we completely went off track of this game, but CJ
Oh
Stroud
yeah.
throwing for again just insane 304 yards, two touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 26 out of 36. And then he's also the number one guy for this game in rushing too. Devin Singletary only got 6 carries, which I'd like to see more carries on the back room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I agree.
yeah. Nico Collins was actually their number one receiver, not Tank Dell this time, getting 7 receptions for 104 yards, 1 touchdown. Tank Dell did get a touchdown and he got 50 yards out of 5 receptions. Just this Texans team is looking really good, especially for the future too, because they're doing just good enough to make the playoffs and still get a mid pick, like a mid first round pick.
Yeah, I also want to say, tip of the cap to D'Amico Ryans for, I know I've said this a few times, but I mean, he took a Texans team that was pretty lifeless, didn't really have much of an identity, and he has helped this team development wise. I mean, they're 6-5, and we're not even, all that close to the end of the season. And if you would have told me this a year ago, this is the impact, I would not have believed it.
Yeah, yeah. When we go back to the beginning of preseason, even when we made if you look in the Discord, if anyone joins, we have our shut up. We have our what
Predictions.
like yeah, we have like our predictions and S tier, A tier, B tier kind of things. And we had the Texans like low, maybe like D, C tier. And now they're a B tier team, which is just insane to think since Texans have historically been, even though they're a newish team, they've historically not been great. But just congratulations to the Jaguars on taking this victory. If only Texans kicker ate his Wheaties that morning. Just missed it too, man. Going to the next game though, Broncos are on a killing streak right now. They have 5 wins. 5 wins. You got me scared, Broncos. You had me scared in the beginning of the season when you were losing all these games, when letting the Dolphins putting 70 points up on you.
Right, yeah, that was rough.
And now you're making a playoff push. If you keep on going in this direction, you're easily going to be in the playoffs. I wouldn't say they would go far in the playoffs. I don't think that at all. And I
Probably a wild
maybe
card or
gets maybe gets
divisional.
yeah, but getting in the playoffs from what you were last year is a step up way beyond what we were going to have you to be.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson actually didn't do that good though. 13 out of 22 with 134 yards and 1 touchdown. That is not the Russ that we're seeing. That's not Mr. Unlimited that we are seeing in Denver that we're kind of used to being right now.
Chef what?
Obviously, Chef Russ cooked a little bit, only a little bit, only enough.
You've cooked an appetizer.
But yeah, Cleveland offense is missing Deshaun Watson. It's funny though, DTR got just as many yards as Russell Wilson, both having 134, and DTR has one more completion than Russ did. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I mean, and also, hey, remember earlier on in the season we were talking about, will this defense step it up? What's wrong with the defense? Well, they hurt us, man. They
Yeah,
started playing defense 12 points to this good, Browns team.
yeah. This Javonte Williams also stepping up in the rushing room for the Broncos, and then Jerry Judy. I think he's a Jag. I'm going to quote Steve Smith there. He is a Jag, and I think you should. I think Jerry Judy. I think Jerry Judy has enough trade value to him where you could trade him for maybe a couple picks, and that's what I would do if I was Denver, because you have like 2 picks for the next 10 years with that Russell Wilson trade. So, what do you think about that, Cole? Do you, with how many picks you're missing due to the Russell Wilson trade, are you thinking of trading some key value players to a different team and maybe getting a couple, maybe a third, maybe a second?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the idea has definitely crossed the mind of this team. Now, me personally, I would try and trade Cortland Sutton instead of Jerry
No,
Judy.
no, no, no.
No,
No. He is doing way too good to be traded.
I mean, he's done all right, but too good. I don't know about that.
Like the amount of catches that he makes near like near the sideline, where he barely puts his 2 feet in, is just, you can't ask for a receiver like that and then
Look,
expect to
it's
get
not
one.
him being bad. It's just, hey, you need trade value, and I still am not giving up on Jerry Judy. I know a lot of people have. I have not. I think
I
he's
have.
still an elite wide receiver.
I gave up on him in fantasy too. Released him.
Well, I saw that part.
Let the dogs have him. But yeah, I think ever since Steve Smith said that about him, he's he just felt like a jag, just a guy.
Just a guy.
But yeah, congratulations, Broncos. Still pulling off wins, even though
Let's
you kind of,
ride.
yeah, Broncos country. Let's try. uh, I don't understand why people were expecting the Cardinals to win this game and then the Rams to absolutely dump on their head. But this game was not pretty. Rams. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from the Rams. The only problem I'm kind of seeing is that they're an aging team. A lot of their players are kind of getting up there in age, especially their best ones. You got Cooper Cup, he's in his 30s, and then Aaron Donald, a couple years younger than Jason Kelsey. I know it's kind of weird way to put it, but if you want to emphasize, you know, just how old Aaron Donald's getting, he's still doing great though. I'm not saying that as like a regression thing. Kyler Murray actually did pretty decent though. Like
Yeah, he
pretty,
did.
pretty, yeah. 27 out of 45. For one, having a guy that like this is the week after you come back from injury and then having him throw for 45 times, especially when he's like 3'2", is pretty. Let people run for a bit. Especially when you only have 15 carries on the rushing side of the ball.
I was gonna say that, and not to mention, your main two running backs only had 10. James Conner and Michael Carter. So I think the big thing in this is honestly, you know, you cannot fault Kyler Murray. I mean, the guy is trying. Okay, Marquise Brown is his best receiver. Rondell Moore is pretty okay too, but I mean, look. Okay, a question for you: if you're the Cardinals, do you build this rebuild around Kyler Murray, or do you get somebody else?
Huh. That is hard because Kyler Murray is so on and off. Like one week you get a performance like this, but then have your team still lose, and then a performance like, oh, I threw for 900 times and got 2 completions. I got 5 picks and one touchdown. So the way he's just so on and off like that kind of scares me. So I'm going to. I would trade him if I was the Cardinals.
That's fair.
Just because there's so many holes with that team. Like you don't have. I don't think Kyler Murray is an elite passer. So having an elite, not having an elite passer is going to help, especially when you're probably going to have a top 5 pick in this draft, being 2 and 10, unless you trade that away. And then you don't have. You have somewhat a receiving room with Marquise Brown, but I doubt he's going to want to stay. I'm pretty sure. I don't know when his contract is up, but whenever it is up, I think he's going to try to test out free agency because I think he's having enough of Arizona.
I mean, you can't really blame him either. I mean,
Yeah,
aside
no,
from
no.
Trey McBride, he has been everything. So,
And then they don't. Then he doesn't get tossed the ball some games too.
oh, and James Conner too. I will say James Conner has
Yeah.
been a tremendous resurgence from where he was.
So that's the thing. You have these pretty solid weapons on offense. With Marquise Brown, Trey McBride, James Conner,
Right.
and then you have Kyler Murray. And if you get an elite passer in this offense, you might have a really top 10 offense with this team. But all I would really improve much besides trading Kyler is adding another running back and another receiver. That was a top tier receiver. And then all your problems are with the defense. Every problem you have is with your defense. Letting the Rams score 37 points on you is pretty bad. Letting Matthew Stafford, I'm not saying he's bad, but letting 2023 Matt Stafford throw 4 touchdowns on your team is, especially in Arizona. You were in Arizona. You were at home.
Right.
That's pretty pitiful. So the defense is what really needs help in Arizona, especially you look at their team and they're a pretty aging team. You see, you got Buda Baker, you got Jalen Thompson, Josh Woods, Garrett Williams. You have those guys, but they just don't have. I think it could possibly be coaching, or you just have so many holes in the defense where everything just slips through. Wide receivers just find a way right through your team into the end zone. So that's what I think for Arizona, what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that makes sense to me. I mean, it was pretty inevitable.
Yeah. Because, it's kind of funny that the new Call of Duty that came out is like one of the worst rated Call of Duties of all time, and he's actually doing good.
See, so maybe if
See?
they got to make a deal with
Activision.
yeah, Activision, be like, hey, keep making awful
Keep
Call of
making
Duty.
horrible games, and Kyler Murray will do amazing.
Yeah, because that's
That's
what
what
they
it really
dream of.
is. Going on to the next game, though. I really wanted an upset, and it almost happened. It almost happened, Cole. But
Almost.
the Raiders cannot do it. The Raiders cannot do it. They actually were unanswered until I think it was the third quarter. It was 14 points. The Raiders had 14, and then Chiefs had 0, and then Chiefs just fired on all cylinders, being like, "We cannot lose to the Raiders," and then scored 31 on them. You just had to do it.
Just had to do it to him.
Hey, I will say I did not expect this Raiders team to be 5-7 though. That is pretty remarkable to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just as a Raiders fan, I'm very happy that this team is fighting and is not dying like it has in the past. So keep that part up. We just got to figure out a way to find a better way to utilize our talent and our skill positions. Because if we could do that, oh my goodness, I legitimately think we have a chance.
Yeah, you got Aiden O'Connell throwing the ball 23 out of 33 for 248 yards and 1 touchdown.
Love
So
that.
my question for you, Cole, do
Mhm.
you find potential in Aiden O'Connell to be the Raiders franchise QB?
Yes, 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 yes. 100% yes. I've said this. Remember now, I rated him as the number 3 quarterback in the draft last year, and there was quite a few good players in that draft, if you remember correctly,
Yeah.
especially at the quarterback position. I even rated him better than Bryce Young. Yes, this guy, he is. He's it. I mean, I can't. I
Is
can't
he
say
him?
it. That's the common wording we use now, right? So, but no, I honestly, he he's the quarterback I wanted. I thought for sure we were just going to draft him late, and then he's going to sit there forever and never play. And I'm so glad that we finally used common sense and we're like, no, he's actually like stupid good. Let him play. Yes.
Yeah, and especially scoring like that, getting this getting this scorecard on the Chiefs defense, like this year's Chiefs defense, is pretty
Right.
impressive to me.
Oh, I agree.
Um, yeah. But Josh Jacobs too on this rushing team for the Raiders, for 20 carries for 110 yards, which is freaking incredible to me. We're actually seeing a hope. And again, Devontae Adams getting receptions. Like
I've been
the
waiting
the
for this.
change the change from the new head coaching staff is such night and day with this team. It's so crazy with this team. Just you see them before Devonte Adams is like wanting to cry. I've never seen Devonte Adams smile, and then they start winning games, and he's actually happy.
He's like
I've
hitting
never
the
seen,
gritty and shit.
even with the Packers. I don't think I've ever seen him smile. He's been very serious his whole career, and he's actually like smiling and dancing with this Raiders team, and I find hope in this Raiders team.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of weird for me to say, but I really think they have a lot of potential. Now, with this change in the offense, and you're starting to see a lot of promise, do you even go for a different head coach? What do you think?
No, personally, so hear me out, Raiders Nation, because listen, I know this might draw some eyes. Um, Personally, no. I like this coach. I like what he's doing. Now, I'm not saying he's completely safe. I'm saying give him this year coming up because if he's able to make this much of a change on this short notice, he might have something. Now I'd say we take it, year by year and just see what he does because there's so many where people get too excited and they're like, "Oh, he's the greatest coach ever. Give him a lifetime extension." And then we see Brian Dayball 2.0. And I'm not ripping on Brian Dayball for the record. I'm just calling a fact. He has not had a good year too, and that's a very realistic possibility here. So let's be cautious.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you too. Let's give him this year, and especially to see like who he drafts and who he's looking forward to in the draft. See
Right.
what type of mentality he has towards stuff like that. I definitely think that this is going to be a great turnaround for this Raiders team. Going on, you know what? I'm gonna have the final one of the games be last. I switched it up. We're
Sure.
gonna talk about the Vikings. I cannot. I was gonna end it up on this. I was like, we cannot end this. We cannot end this
No.
segment on this game.
No.
Bears. You all right? Bears. All right, we're gonna
Mm,
bring it in.
embarrassing.
Bring it in here. You. I know you won. All right, I know you won. I know you won. But this feels like a loss. You had Joshua Dobbs get picked off 4 times, and
Or
you win by 2 points. Tell me, in what sense of the word does that feel like a win? You had a quarterback get picked off 5 times, and then you don't even score a touchdown. This game had 0 touchdowns in it. 0, which is the first time a Bears team has won a game with no touchdown since and however long, which isn't an accomplishment. That shouldn't be an accomplishment. Yeah,
no.
our team can't score touchdowns. That's not good. It's really not good. Justin Fields throwing for 217 yards. Um, I just like the I scroll down. I'm not seeing any touchdowns on this. Oh, I can't even talk. It's disgusting. It's
It's
absolutely
awful.
putrid. But we can separate now. We can not huddle. I just had to say
Joshua
that.
Dobbs, bro. Like, how did you hold him to 4 picks and only win by 2? Like you said, I'm I don't know what to say. This game was pure just ugliness. Can we not see this on a Monday night, please and thank you? Whose idea was this to put this in the Monday game? I'd like to meet him and have a sit down talk with him about why this was a horrible idea. Um, uh,
Whoever
yeah,
whoever watched this game deserves to be paid for
yes,
watching this game. It's it's that bad.
it was
It's
brutal.
horrible. And Joshua Dobbs, you're getting picked off 4 times. Where did this NASA scientist quarterback go? You
It's
you
so true.
better you better start working at NASA again because your job in Minnesota is not going to be there again if you keep on if you play like this again.
I mean,
What
hey,
I
hey,
don't
hey,
what
that's
I
not
will
true.
hold on. I'm saying that if he plays like this again because this was abysmal and you can't even say that. 20,
Hold
20
on,
for
though.
22 out of 32 is pretty good and then 185. But 4 picks is nothing to be proud of. And I'm not saying he's terrible. I think he's pretty good. But Minnesota getting asked, "Oh, what about the quarterback situation?" and then going, "Oh yeah, we'll see about that." You should not be looking at him as like, "Oh yeah, he did terrible. Let's get rid of him right now," because one game does not determine a really does not determine a quarterback. Joshua Dobbs is still should still be quarterback one. He just had an abysmal performance this week.
All right, so
All right.
here's what I wanted to say. Um, isn't it kind of funny that what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about oh yes. So Kirk Cousins was the literal definition of mid, and they put up with him for like ever. And now
All
Joshua
right. Well,
Dobbs, who is like better, and people are talking about like, hey guys, we actually need a quarterback now. Like, where was this like 9 years ago?
I will say this about Kirk Cousins because before he got injured, he was top 5 quarterback. Before he got injured, because he was leading in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Didn't have that many interception rates, so I will give Kirk Cousins this prop because I'm not a big Kirk Cousins fan, but he did do good before he got injured this season. This season he was doing good, so just saying he did pretty good before he got his Achilles snapped in half. Um, but yeah, Bears. This feels such a loss. This feels like a loss to me. When you have 4 interceptions and then you do nothing with any of those 4, it just feels like a loss. All right, going on to the last game for week 12, Bills versus Eagles. What a match this was! Like I'm calling this game of the week.
Wow,
What?
it was
What?
amazing.
Yeah, not very much defense was played, all offense, which is the type of games we love to see because we're greedy like that. But like what Jalen Hurts, I think he watched the episode last week when I told him he was a system quarterback and actually balled out in this game. He both quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, did freaking incredible in this game. And even when you've seen the field goal from Philadelphia to make this go into overtime, you've seen Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey just get so upset just because um, They were so tired. Josh Allen though threw for 51 attempts. 51 attempts. Now, does that give you some alarming? Does that give you alarms about the maybe the back room in this for this Bills offense?
I don't think so. I mean, you got James Cook. He's a really good tailback that, I think he executes what they want in a running back. And Latavius Murray's good too, and Ty Johnson's okay, but I think the main reason why you see so many passing attempts, the Bills want to be the Chiefs so bad. Like, they do. And, what do the Chiefs always used to do, especially, in the dynasty part? And I say it like it's over. It's not. But
Have
um,
Patrick Mahomes throw for like 61 attempts.
exactly. You have them throw a lot. So I think that's the idea here. And I just don't think Josh Allen is that guy in terms of a quarterback who could throw that many times. And I know everybody wants to get on him because of, he throws picks and he's very unpredictable and and I get it. But think about this. Like when he was at Wyoming, he was the heart and soul of that team and he did everything. And here at Buffalo, I think he came in with that mentality, and I don't think it's left. I don't think he's like, "Oh, I have guys who can, take that off of me." And I just don't think he can switch to that mode. I think he would benefit more from, not having such star-studded guys around him, as weird as that sounds, because he was so used to it. And I think a lot of the tendencies from Wyoming, like, he had to make everything happen. Quite literally everything. He was a one-man team, basically. Of course, minus the old line and the receivers catching and stuff. But like, I think that's why he forces so many passes, is because he's so used to having to do that. And I know, people say, oh, well, after he got the big payday, that's when it all went downhill. I don't know. I can't say that. And yeah, I used to think that, but anymore, no. I really think it's just kind of the Wyoming thing coming, and I think there's got to be a disconnect between the offensive coordinator and the players, is what I'd have to guess. I'm not necessarily saying Matt or not Matt Canada, Joe Brady, because he is new to it, but I'm saying like the former OC, he might have kind of screwed this whole season up. I'm not, blaming him fully. I'm just saying, like, when you're expecting that and for Josh Allen to magically turn back to that after being told, like, you do have some talent here. It's not all you here. Like, I think you got to make up one road and stay that road. You can't keep intersecting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Um, yeah, this game was just entertaining from the start. DeAndre Swift getting 80 yards for 14 carries, still continuing to just kill it, and that's in the running back room for Philadelphia.
Right.
Jalen Hurts getting 14 carries as well for 65 yards, which at the last play of the game ended the game, and Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown to seal the win for the Philadelphia Eagles, which I bet Philly fans are happy with that win for Buffalo, because these are the most obnoxious fan bases in the NFL. So I really wanted to see a video of like Philly fans celebrating and then being like, "Oh yeah, my neighbor's a Buffalo fan." Just running over to his house, breaking in his house, being like, "Hey man, how'd you like the game?" But yeah, I'm calling this game of the week by far, easily the most
Yes.
entertaining, and just happy I was able to see it. But yeah, that concludes it for week 12 of the NFL. We are now going to go to our good, bad, and Matt almost sounded like a sheep there.
I was like, what
Uh,
is he doing?
Cole, you start us off.
All right, yes, I shall. And let us start with my good, and that is Derrick Henry finally coming back and being who he was for 1 week. It was so nice to see 20.10 points, 2 rushing TDs, 76 rushing yards, 1 reception for no yards, just 1 reception. So that's kind of sad. But, anyways, he did amazing. I mean, he was the right hand man. He was the give me the ball and I will absolutely pound this team. It was nice to see him be him again. All right, my meh of this week, I'm gonna go with Jordan Addison. 39 receiving yards, 6 receptions. Granted, this whole Minnesota Chicago game was just one really sad game of football. So I don't really hold him, too bad in this game. I'd like to see him do better going forward and really start connecting with Dobbs. I think it's possible. It's just, don't have a repeat.
Yeah.
And then for my bad, there's so much to choose from. I get excited when we talk about the bad because it's like, oh man, everybody sucks. um, but I'm gonna
Who do I
go with
pick from?
Kyle Pitts, who had 22 receptions or 20. Whoa, that's too much. 22 receiving yards, two
Jesus,
receptions.
22 receptions.
He put up 3.20 in total. And now this does not go against him fully. There are parts, but it's not fully him. He has done everything he can to try and help out this offense that doesn't care about him and only features him like 4 times. It's sad. Justice for Kyle Pitts. Get him on a better team. I'm sick of this. Utilize your player better. So yeah, it's not so much on you, Kyle, if you ever watch this. It's just on the people who don't utilize you, and it makes me mad.
The people around you.
Yeah. What about
But
you?
all right, going to my fantasy team, my players killed it. my lowest scoring guy was Jake Ferguson by 4, but I have to start off with my bad, which is Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson getting only 4 points when you're scoring 45 points. It's obvious that Dallas doesn't utilize their tight ends, but when it comes to a tight end like Jake Ferguson, why aren't you utilizing that man? It
Facts.
doesn't make any sense to me, especially when you'd think Dallas would see all the teams that are doing way successful, like really successful, are utilizing tight ends. You got Detroit with Sam Laporta, you got Baltimore with Mark Andrews, you got the biggest example, the Chiefs with Travis Kelce. You got all these teams that are utilizing their tight ends such a smart way, and then you're having Jake Ferguson do what exactly?
Just stand there, look nice.
Yeah, exactly. But my meh, it's so all my guys did so good. It's so hard to pick from. My meh is gonna have to be Dave Montgomery, which is weird to say because he got 15.10 points.
I was gonna say, that's a pretty good man.
But my good's even better. So I can't even say anything why he's meh. He's just my second highest scoring guy. But my good is Bijan Robinson with 25.80 points, which is wow. But yeah, that is it for our fantasy segment. And now,
Also, no, hold on.
hold on.
I
Right.
won by 0.4 this week. 0.4.
Wow.
I just wanted to bring that up because I wanted to feel special and stuff.
Oh, my fantasy story this week. So all the Thursday games were played, all the Black Friday and Thanksgiving games were played. And now my opponent was actually Chooch. My opponent was Chooch. And who does his one guy that is remaining to play on Monday? Joshua Dobbs, and
Oh,
he needed 19 points to beat me. And then I was like, oh crap, Joshua Dobbs has been killing it. And it's the Bears too. Oh god, I was stressing out the whole time. And what happens? I
four
seen it.
picks.
I was not watching this game, but I seen like an NFL app notification. Joshua Dobbs threw his fourth pick today. I was like, okay, I'm winning. I'm... when is this happening? But yeah, whoever won today in their whoever won this week in their fantasy, congratulations to you. But it's time to go to our last segment for today. Uh, we are going to intermingle some college into this episode, even though it's an NFL episode, with talking about Heisman, the Heisman Trophy winner, who is not happening yet, but there are votes that are coming in, and we're basically going to give our opinions on, should this guy be higher up on the list? Should he not be here? Who is not on the list that we think should be here? Like, basically, just our general opinion about it. So it's time to go into the Heisman talk.
Yes. Flash that thing on the
Uh,
screen.
we're, we're going to go into numbered rankings. So 8th place, 7th place, 6th place, so on until all the way until the first place. Starting off
So,
with
you doing it?
yep.
Okay,
Starting
cool. Go
off
for it.
starting off with 8th place, JJ McCarthy from Michigan. What I want to hear your opinion on this first.
Um, I think JJ McCarthy either shouldn't be on this list or should be number 7 and Milrow be 8. That is, I kind of had a spoiler there, so sorry, folks. But look, I already have the list up, so sorry again. But
You're
to
good.
me, McCarthy is better than Jalen Milrow, but he really shouldn't be. Neither of them should be considered for this. So I mean, he's all right. He had an okay year. When I hear Heisman, I really don't think JJ McCarthy. So that's my thought on him. What about you?
Yeah. My opinion again. This is coming from a Michigan fan. Everyone can
Go
back me
for
up
it.
on this. I love JJ McCarthy. I rarely talk bad about the guy. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's exactly what Michigan needs to win games and bring him to the playoffs and beat Ohio State. I had to bring that up. But
Of course they did.
congratulations to the Wolverines, by the way, on that. But JJ McCarthy is, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think we're saying that any of these people on the list are, bad per se. We're just saying like when you think of Heisman winners, you think of Barry Sanders, you think of Louisville Lamar Jackson, you think of Joe Burr, and
Love it.
like you think of like that pinnacle of college football, and like the vast scope of college to be like college football is way bigger than the NFL. There's so many different more teams, more like just it's so much harder to win like the Heisman than like let's say the Super Bowl. For it's weird for me to say, but it is kind of hard to win that because you have to be the one guy better than everybody else in college football.
Right.
And when I see JJ McCarthy, yeah, he's good, but he's not that pinnacle of greatness. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Nothing against him. It's just he's not there. I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna do good in the NFL, but he's just not there when it comes to pure talent in the college aspect of it. Going on to the 7th place though, another Michigan man. I think he has a better chance of winning it than JJ McCarthy, being Blake Corum. Blake Corum had a really impressive season this year for 202 carries, 976 yards, not breaking 1,000, but getting 22 touchdowns. This is his senior year, so he will be going to Detroit to be drafted, which I will be going to.
Had to sneak that one in there.
No. Hold on. Let me rephrase that because you might think I'm saying something different. I mean, the draft is going to happen in Detroit. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Um,
meant going to the
yeah,
Lions.
yeah,
It's like, all
yeah.
right.
No. It's like, yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Had
I
to
get
clear
it.
that up a little bit. But when it comes to Heisman, I think you see, I love Blake Corum. I
Great
I, I
player.
was questioning getting his Michigan jersey. Yeah, we love him. But when it comes to Heisman, this year was not it. If it was maybe last year or maybe, no, the year before, his sophomore year, maybe, but I'm not sure. I'm really I don't know. I don't think so. He's not that pinnacle yet, but I think he's going to take big strides in the NFL. I don't know. What do you think?
All right. So I will say this. If I had a ranking, and he's currently 7 for the record, um, I would put Blake Corum in top 5. I'd put him at number 5 because, like you're saying, he's not the full pinnacle great yet. He'll be there. Believe me, I think he'll have a phenomenal NFL career. But and he's a really great player. I'm not knocking him, but like you said, I don't think he's Heisman. But I do think he's better than two names which are higher on this list, which I don't understand how they're higher on the list. We're coming back to this, and I'm making that point. I don't want to spoil them yet, but yeah, that's what I think. He's
Understood.
a really great player, really solid. Um, if it weren't for injuries, I honestly think he would be higher. So
All right, I think so too. Again, love this guy. I'm excited to see where he goes in this draft. Um, Going on to the next one, people are saying that this guy is the best wide receiver in football today. Is he the only wide receiver in in the Heisman debate? I think he
yes, in
is.
the
Yep,
Heisman debate,
he's the
yes.
only receiver so far in this Heisman debate. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Uh, all right.
That hurt to
Wait,
say.
all right. Put hating to the side. This guy is doing pretty good. Yeah, this guy has done amazing, pretty much his whole college career, except for 2021, obviously. But being a junior, he does have this decision because this is a pretty good year. 1,211 yards, 14 touchdowns. So he does have a decision to come back his senior year and do even better, possibly. But when it comes to Heisman, I'm not sure because coming as a hater, coming as a hater of this team, I cannot I have to acknowledge that this guy is amazing as an athlete. He is just amazing as a player. Where do you put him?
Oh man, I mean, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way here. He's a really great wide receiver. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Um, Now this might trigger some people. I don't think he's the best wide receiver in college. I'm just full disclosure. It's not an Ohio State hate thing. It's just I think there are two better wide receivers than him, and this is gonna sound biased as hell, but let it fire, boys. Um, Brian Thomas from LSU and Malik Neighbors from LSU are better than him. I'm stating the case. It's true, in my opinion. Anybody could say what they want, but I will say he should be in the Heisman talks, but he is not the best wide receiver. He is definitely not the Blitnikoff. To me, it's Malik Neighbors. But I think Marvin Harrison is actually really well ranked. I like him at number 6. However, and again, I'm not. I can't make my full point yet because the two haven't been revealed ahead of him. But I do think he is better than the next two that are ranked. So just keep that in mind. He's not better than Corum. I mean, maybe you could interchange him, but he's really good still. I mean, he is number 6. I would keep him at 6, but I would rank him above these two coming up. And what I mean by that is I'd move these two off the list, or at very least like 8. But I'll let Jacob get to introducing one of the two.
All right, coming up next in 5th place, Georgia's quarterback Carson Beck. This is his junior year, throwing for 3,495 yards, 2 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions. He has a QB rating of 85.4, which is the 6th in college quarterbacks. Coming from his junior year, he took last year. Where are his stats from last year? Anyway, this is probably the best we've seen of Carson Beck
It was
lately.
Stenson Bennett last year, by the way, so that's why you won't find this is
Yeah,
first
yeah,
year starting.
yeah. So as a starting quarterback, this guy has been pretty good. Would I put him as a Heisman though? I think he's good, but to put him in Heisman is a pretty big step. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think I put him as Heisman yet, but I definitely think he can be in the talks.
My turn.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Buckle in, boys. Georgia hate comments coming up. I have a feeling. So again, welcome all. Um, Carson Beck is not as good as the stats show. And the reason why, and I know y'all might grill me for this because I get on people who do this for Brock Purdy, but this is a real example of a quarterback who is good because of the team around him. This is the example right here. Okay, when you're throwing to Brock Bowers, Lad McConkey, you have a really good run game. You have a pretty solid O line. To me, it screams quarterback that gets carried. I'm sorry, it just does. Um, he's not anywhere close to the Heisman in my talk. Personally, I wouldn't have him even ranked. I don't know why he's number 5. He's okay. I'm not hating on him. I don't think he's awful, but he is definitely not a top 8 in college football. No. He looks good because he's on the number 1 team. He looks good because he's got, tremendous talent around him. He's not top 5.
All right. Get out of the huddle now. Going back to the screen. Coming into 4th place from Alabama, Jalen
Nailed it.
Milroe. This year, like when you look at the two, like Carson Beck and then Jalen Milroe, they have pretty different seasons. This is Jalen Milroe's sophomore year at Alabama, throwing for 2,526 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Big step back from Carson Beck's 3,495 yards. But still ranks higher somehow. Alabama obviously having an 11-1 season compared to Georgia's 12-0. The way I see it, if this guy is doing this in his sophomore year and he still has one, maybe potentially 2 more years left, I think he's going to take big strides and come the next coming year. But this year, I don't see it, not yet, at least, because you got to boost those yards up and you got to boost just yeah,
Yeah.
a lot more touchdowns as well. Your turn.
All right. So, in the
Should I huddle
reason,
again?
no, we don't need to come that close for this one. So I just want to clarify the reason why we're going like your turn, next turn. Again, it's that delay. I don't want to talk over him. He doesn't want to talk over me. It's just the way we're working at this show. Like I said, next show we'll have that figured. Um, but as for Jalen Milroe, um, I have a lot more respect for him than most people do in the college football country. I'm gonna start by saying that. This is a guy who lost his starting quarterback job um, early in the year, that USF week. And a lot of questions were made about him, especially after the Texas loss. And he responded well to the adversity. I mean, you got to give, him credit for stepping up, for being a leader, for making the plays that he has. And just all in all, like as a passer, he's not there yet. He's not really good. He's mediocre at best in terms of throwing. Now, running, he's pretty electric. I mean, if you don't have a QB spy on him, you're getting beat. It just it's how it goes. Um, I learned that out the hard way this year. So, um, I got nothing, not too much bad to say about him aside from, he's really got to work on throwing, really got to work on accuracy. Should he be in the Heisman talk? No, absolutely not. He should not be in the top 8. He should be, right now if I had to rank him, I'd say maybe a top 50 player in the nation, maybe, and that's a big maybe. Once he comes back next year and develops his game, I think, then we could have a talk about this. But this year, definitely not. Obviously, the reason he's up here, and it's a stupid reason, by the way, because we're supposed to talk about, best player in college football, not best team in college football. And I think a lot of people get that mixed up. Because if we're talking Alabama and Georgia, I mean, they're good. Yeah, we're going to talk about the team. But if we're talking about individual players, I mean, if we're not talking Brock Bowers, which by the way is a joke that he or Lad McConkey is not mentioned here, if we want to talk about best player again, they should be mentioned, and they're not. And I kind of get Brock because he was injured for a little bit, but like how is Lad McConkey not getting a mention? It makes me upset. But anyways, um, no, Milroe's not here yet. Give him time. I don't hate Milroe. Ironically enough, I know a lot of people do. Um, but yeah, that's my full thoughts about him. Give him time.
Yeah, but having that season, having a really impressive season as a sophomore, it's not like you put all your bags in, you put all your chips in the bag, and then you just that's it for you. You're definitely gonna have a lot better junior year, and then if you decide to come back for senior year, I'm sure he'll do a lot
Right.
better. Going on to the next one in third place from Washington, Michael Penix Jr. I like this I like this guy during senior year, so he will be going into the draft this year. 3,899 yards for 32 touchdowns and 8 picks. Has the 10th QBR rating in college football with 82.8. The way I see it, if this guy did get the Heisman or if he's high up in the rankings, like where he is with third place, I'm not upset about it. The way I see it.
Right.
Um, but also just having this Washington team that isn't really known for being such a great program and the college space being 12-0, like this was definitely a big help with that.
Yeah, I mean you're right about that.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, that's all I
oh,
really got.
okay.
That's all I really got. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, from from Michael Penix here, I'm gonna say he is definitely one of the best pure elite guys in college football. When you think Heisman, he definitely should be in the talks. Um, Out of these next three, you can make a case either way, and it wouldn't be laughable. Me personally, though, I think one and two are definitely battling for it. I think Penix is just a little bit under that. But I like where he's ranked, and it's not a slap on him. I mean, this guy is a phenomenal player. Any team who picks him up in the draft is going to have a really good quarterback. And to think about where he came from, he was an Indiana quarterback who did pretty good at Indiana, transfers to Washington, and has not lost a beat. If anything, he's looked better. And, people always. This is the perfect example of a quarterback who is not like Carson Beck and built by his team because he was actually good at Washington, or I mean, at Indiana before Washington, and even better at Washington. So this is one of those examples of a tremendous player, really good athlete, and he's going to do, like I said, tremendous things. Do I think he's the Heisman? No, but I definitely think he's worth the hype. Jacob?
All right, going on into going on
No, you're good.
into second place from all the way to from LSU, Jaden Daniels. But yeah, first QBR in college football with 95.6. Wow. Um, throwing this is senior year, throwing for 3,812 yards for 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And his rushing stats are probably on par or even more impressive than his throwing stats. But with what he's done with LSU in the absence of just the 2019 team that we all remiss on, he's been amazing. But when the losses that they took this year, he has questionable decision making. Will that bite him in the Heisman race, especially since this is his senior year and he can't really come back? What do you think, Cole?
I think it definitely could. I mean, you know, as a fan of LSU, I was very hard on Jaden Daniels. I will be honest. And I think some of it is warranted. Everybody builds him up like he's, so awesome. And don't get me wrong. I mean, he is. He's really good. He's really athletic. He is leaps and bounds compared to last year as a passer. He's come. So personally, if I had to choose a Heisman, this would be the guy, and I'm a little biased, but
Yeah.
nobody has ripped on him more than me. So also take that into consideration too. I've been his biggest critic all year, and he's kind of shut me up. So take that for what it is. Um, but I really like a lot of things about him. I love his dual threat ability. He's really fast. His throwing accuracy has gotten really good. If I, like I said, if I had to choose, this would be the guy. So, he's definitely earned it. And the losses, there's only one loss I fully blame on him, and that's the Ole
The
Miss
Florida
game.
one? Oh.
Ole Miss. Florida State, I blame on everybody. I mean, that was horrible. I'm still not over that. And then the Alabama game, I kind of blame him, but at the same time, I don't fully blame him. I blame Matt House for being an absolute idiot. I blame Mike Denbrock. Some of his calling in the early game was not very good. And then I also, I credit Alabama. I mean, they adjusted. They made Jaden Daniels have to absolutely beat them with his arm, and he could not do that. So that's, I guess, where my criticism comes. And not to mention, they dirty hitted him. They literally targeting him, and they didn't call it, and they just said it was a good football play. So I don't know. why even have the penalty if that's not targeting? I'm still not over that.
We already had that rant a previous
Oh yeah,
episode.
I'm stopping there.
But yeah, I like LSU, but again, this would be yours, but I currently don't see it because the losses that they had, a lot of the decision making that goes into Jaden Daniels is just something that I blame. Not I don't blame him fully, but the decision making with him is a problem for
That's
me,
fair too.
as the way I see it. But coming into first place for the Heisman race currently is the man from Oregon, number 10, Bo Nix, currently in first place, has the second QBR coming in from Jane Daniels first with a 91.1. Um, has 3,906 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Now, Oregon had an 11-1 season coming with the loss from Washington, which we were just talking about, their quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. This is his senior year. So again, he's going into the draft. And this talk makes me so excited for the draft. All
Me too.
these, yeah, all these Heisman winners. It just gets me really excited. Now, would you call this man a Heisman winner? They have faced in this season pretty good competition. They face USC, Cal, Utah, ASU. So, do you call him a Heisman winner, especially with with the amount of competition that Oregon has faced this season?
Um, man, I don't know. That's tough because statistically that's amazing. I mean, he is, and take nothing away from him. If Jaden doesn't win it, if Bo Nix wins it, I won't hate that because he is a phenomenal player. I mean, he always has been. So I want to get that out the way first. I do got a lot of respect for him and what he's accomplished and the way he's played. But team difference is my big thing because when you're looking, and I'm more so doing Jaden Daniels versus Bo Nix, because honestly, that's the 1 and 2. It's going to one of them. It's not even close, in my opinion. Sorry, Penix. Um, I, that's where it gets chippy to me because LSU has had to play Alabama. That's, a top team that's fighting for even a playoff spot. They had to play Ole Miss, another quality team who might even be looking into a New Year's Six bowl. They had to play, Texas A&M, which as much as I like to roast them, they're still a pretty good team that could beat a lot of out of conference opponents. And Jaden played a huge part in that game. Um, Florida State, they're a top 14. The showing wasn't great, but it was week 1. And then if I look at Bo Nix, I mean, you have Washington, they're a playoff team right now. If they win out, they make the playoffs. So that's a good game, good experience, good team, and he played really good. Um, aside from that though, I mean, there really isn't a lot. I mean, USC, but USC don't have a defense. Um, Arizona, I think they played Zona. I might be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do they? Yeah, they did. Okay. Yeah, I mean Arizona, they're a good team. They're to me the hottest team in college football. So I mean that's a good win. Colorado, they're a joke. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dion. That whole experiment failed miserably. Um
That's Coach Prime to you.
Yeah, exactly. Coach Prime. Year 1 though. I mean, he'll be better. I'm just saying this year was not it. Washington State, when they played Washington State fell off a cliff, so that really doesn't show a lot in my opinion. Um, all in all, I think LSU and Jaden had the tougher road, and that's why I'd give it to Jaden because it's tougher. I mean, well, Oregon, they also had Oregon State. I mean, they're kind of a mediocre, middle of the road team, just being honest. So, you know, what Bo Nix did was incredible, but when he was at Auburn, he didn't do quite what he's doing now, and there's a reason for that. So to me, that's why I do that. But Bo Nix would definitely be my second. And like I said, if he wins it, I won't be upset. What about you?
Yeah, I have the same feelings about that. Totally. Like the thing he's been at, the thing he's been doing with Oregon, like blowing out almost every opponent. And I'm excited to see in the Pac-12 championship, the first game is going to be Oregon versus Washington, the rematch that Oregon
Second game.
lost. Yeah. Oh, the second game. I meant like their first game in the playoffs. I'm excited to see that rematch, and maybe Bo Nix will get the upper hand in this situation. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, I really want JJ McCarthy or Blake Corum to win, but I know that's not going to happen. But if this talk does not get you excited for the draft, then I don't know what will.
Yeah,
I truly don't.
honestly.
Almost every Heisman um, voting is a senior, so I'm just so excited.
New
So many
quarterback in
potential.
Detroit.
No, well, we'll keep Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker, but that will be it for us. This is JCP End Zone Perspective. We hope you had a really fun time with us. I hope you guys ate as much turducken as you could. And I hope you guys had a great, amazing Thanksgiving watching all these games, even though some of them were pretty incompetent. And I hope you join in the podcast. And please leave a like and subscribe, and then go into the description and go into our link tree where you can find all of our socials and our Discord, where we're trying to build a community and have a very fun time doing this podcast. This is Jay from JCP, and we're out.
God bless y'all.